ground in Aokigahara is literally designed to swallow every sound you make. But it's not just the lava rock, there's a reason compasses stop working here. The forest stretches for 30 kilometers, a tangled maze of pine and fir, each needle dampened by a thin layer of moss that feels like a velvety carpet underfoot. A thin mist clings to the soil, making each step feel like sinking into cold water, the dampness seeping through the soles of my boots and rising up into my calves. You hear your own breath echo in the throat, but the world outside remains mute, as if the trees have erected an invisible wall around every syllable. I walked into the forest at dawn, my boots crunching on the porous basalt floor. The stone beneath my feet is riddled with tiny cavities, a natural acoustic foam that soaks up every footfall. With each step the sound is swallowed, leaving only a faint thump that disappears into the earth. Researchers measured reverberation time in the forest and found it half of what a typical woodland offers. That means a shout would die in less than a second, as if the trees themselves were sucking the air. You will find out why in a moment. Canopy above forms a roof of dense leaves, blocking most of the daylight. Sunlight filters through in thin shafts, creating pockets of dim light that flicker like candle flames on a windy altar. The lack of light tricks the brain into a state of sensory deprivation, and the mind begins to fill the silence with imagined sounds. I felt a shiver run down my spine as my eyes adjusted, the darkness pressing against my eyelids like a cold hand. Hikers report hearing distant bells, whispers, even the crack of a branch that never fell. Those are auditory hallucinations born from the brain's attempt to make sense of the void. A study in 1998 recorded brainwave patterns of volunteers inside the forest and noted spikes in theta activity, the same frequency linked to dreaming. This is the psychological trap that makes you hear things that aren't there. The basalt that forms the forest floor is not just porous, it also conducts low-frequency vibrations straight into the ground. When you step, the stone absorbs the impact and radiates a faint hum that you cannot hear, yet your inner ear senses the subtle shift. That hum interferes with the vestibular system, causing a subtle dizziness that many describe as a floating sensation, as if the world beneath you were a gentle sea. Here is why this changes everything. The same stone also disrupts magnetic fields, which is why compasses spin wildly among the trees. The iron-rich volcanic rock creates a magnetic anomaly that cancels out the Earth's field within a radius of 200 meters. That magnetic dead zone disorients both animals and people, adding a layer of fear to the already oppressive silence. Imagine walking with a handheld compass, the needle trembling, then snapping to a random direction. My own compass spun like a frantic dancer, pointing north one moment, east the next, before finally lying still, useless. That is the feeling that has driven many to abandon their trek before sunset. The forest's silence is not empty, it is a living, breathing entity that reshapes perception. It traps sound, bends light, and scrambles magnetic cues, turning a simple hike into a mind-bending experience. The Japanese name for the forest means sea of trees, but it feels more like a void that swallows every sense. Legends speak of spirits that lure wanderers deeper, yet the science shows a natural mechanism that can make any mind imagine a ghost. As the day turned to night, the temperature dropped to 15 degrees Celsius, and the air grew still, heavy with the scent of pine resin and damp earth. My skin prickled, and I could feel my heart thudding louder than the surrounding hush, each beat reverberating through my chest like a drum in an otherwise soundless hall. I reached a clearing where a small stream bubbled over basalt stones, each bubble puncturing the silence for a fraction of a second. The water's sound was the only true noise, a reminder that not all frequencies are absorbed. I stood there, listening to the water, and felt a sudden clarity as the forest's grip loosened. The silence receded, and the world beyond the trees seemed louder than ever, as if the forest had been holding its breath and now exhaled. That moment proved the forest's power. It can amplify the smallest sound when it chooses. If you ever plan to explore Aokigahara, remember the basalt's acoustic properties, the canopy's sensory effects, and the magnetic dead zone that can leave you lost. Equip yourself with a GPS unit that relies on satellites rather than magnetic needles, and move slowly to give your ears time to adjust. Bring a friend, because a shared presence can break the mind's tendency to fill the void with phantom whispers. The forest remains a place where nature's physics create a horror that feels supernatural, yet understanding the mechanisms can turn fear into respect, and respect into survival. So next time you hear a story about a spirit that steals voices, think of the porous rock that steals sound instead. The silence is a shield, the forest a keeper of secrets, and the basalt the silent guardian of those secrets. Comment silence if you'd ever dare to walk through Aokigahara alone.